calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
What's up, sluts? This is Disco Mountain Man from Tragedy, the all-metal tribute to the Bee Gees and beyond, and you're listening to the Whizbanger Show.
Hello, this is Ivan. I'm the singer and a bass player of the Green Hog Band. You're listening to the Whizbanger Show.
Hello, party people. This is Jessie May of Turkey Vulture, Owl Maker, Metalhead Money, and you're listening to the Whizbanger Show. Horns up.
Hello, everybody. Here is Martin, vocals and guitars in Pure Sonic Outcast. And you are tuned into the amazing Whizbanger Show podcast.
This is Billy from Helldrifter, Germany. You're tuned into the Whizbanger Show podcast. Rock on.
This is Mike Giuliano from Horror, Pain, Gore, Death Productions, and it's the Whizbanger Show. No fucking huss.
Hey, this is Brooke from Lady Luna and the Devil. You're tuned into the Whizbanger Show podcast, now independent and dropping every Friday.
Okay, one more time for Sarah. Ready?
Well, I'm Max.
And I'm Troy. And we're the Boneless Ones.
Hey, metalheads. This is Janneke, lead vocalist for death metal band Beyond the Pale, hailing from the Netherlands.
This is Blasting Rod, and you're listening to the Whizbanger Show.
Hi, this is Gaspar.
And this is Fred.
And this is Piotr. We are Sam from Montreal, and you are tuned in to the Whizbanger Show podcast, now independent and dropping every Friday.
Hello, headbangers and thrash metal maniacs. This is Caton from the Mighty Hyrax, and you are listening to the Whizbanger Show. Stay heavy!
It's showtime. Get Whizbanged.
plume above continues, conspires, to the tune of strings that rip apart, to the score of murder that speaks for art. My heartbeat stands and stings and screams, the end, the end, the end to me. And tells stories that end unhappily, but they're more honest for it, they're better than lies. The liar will come back strangely to me, and plucks my eyes so that I might see the world beyond, the space of dreams, where blood flows full and tastes of mead. Turn your regard upon that soul that lies broken, used, torn from the road. Back to the abyss, to the beginning nothing, where all life is ripped, unfair, unfriendly. Back into pain, back into suffering, so we might share something more brotherly, so we might share something more motherly, so we might see spinning worlds unknown, and think to ourselves, they are all my home.
What's up, everybody? Sarah Whizbanger of the Whizbanger Show. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with me. It's been a wild last few months, and I've only gotten one show out since the Mother's Day edition, and that was my 2025 rollout. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, it is accessible from the website or SoundCloud or Deezer, where you can listen to the you can listen to the podcast without signing up for any membership or anything like that. It's free, and all of those groovy things. Today is a Subterranean Soundwaves edition, which I'm super excited about because I get to feature bands that are deep underground, unsigned. To quote one of the bands today, DIY as fuck. So I'm tickled. I love doing this show so much because I just love bringing all these bands to you. So your future favorite bands are within the show today. We kicked it off with 2 tracks today because it kind of went together. Icarium is from Fort Worth, Texas, and I played the track for you, Time. Now, this is a really interesting band. So that kicked us off. That wasn't the last. I should probably tell you the last one we heard. Hold please. Yedd was the last one you heard because I kicked it off with the 2 tracks. I'm not used to doing that. The last song you heard was a band from Port Orchard, Washington. They are a heavy rock outfit called Yedd, Y-E-D-D. And I played the track for you, Humbled, which is off their May 2025 self-titled independent album. And I got this from Leanne over at Mettle Media, M-E-T-T-L-E. So thanks, Leanne, for getting me on your list. Yedd, Y-E-D-D, #1 on Bandcamp, Yedd Rock and Yedd Band on Facebook and Instagram. Go and check them out, and you can pick up their album on their Bandcamp page. And really excited about that. I really dig this band. Before that was Icarium from Fort Worth, Texas, and they are a prog rock outfit sent to me by a guy named, why am I forgetting your name? Jacob. So if any of you listen to the show from SoundCloud, you'll notice that there's somebody that puts a timestamp between and like labels a timestamp by the name of the bands. So this guy Jacob has been listening to my show for a long time, and it started appearing, and so I sent him a message, and I'm like, hello, thank you for doing that. And he said, well, I really like your show, and it's just like a kind of a habit I do. I have the time, so why not? So he actually timestamps all the shows on SoundCloud, and he sent me his friend's band, Icarium, this band from Texas, a long time ago, and I kept wanting to play them, and then nothing, I just wasn't working, and then this band called Yedd appeared on my doorstep, and I was like, oh, this goes great, and so that was your 2 shot. You heard a band from Texas called Icarium kicking off the show, and then last band you heard from Port Orchard, Washington, Yedd. Both of them can be found on Bandcamp, Icarium, Icarium on Bandcamp. They also have an Instagram and a Facebook. And again, thank you so much, Jacob, for doing what you do free of charge, volunteering your time. I know everybody appreciates it, especially the band, so they can figure out exactly when to listen to their track. I just love it. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to have to send you some Whizbanger stuff. And then Yedd from Port Orchard, Humbled was the track you heard. All right. It will get heavier today. Next up, we are going to go over to the Netherlands, and we're going to listen to a band called the RVH Project. This is a project from Orion Roos, who I've been communicating with for a long time. He is super prolific. He's in a bunch of bands. I think I first played him when he was his band Vortex, which changed their name to Metal Bats. And then he's a guitarist. He's also in Maestro and Aloha and X Vengeance. And he's just really sweet. And every time he has a new project, he sends me something. So this is what you're going to hear. It's Rick Van Fusen, Orion Roos, Jerry DeGraff, from among others, Mother of Sin, Seventh Sign, and Pure Veshurin, and also from Vengeance. And RVH Project is on Bandcamp, and then they also have a Facebook page, RVH Project NL for Netherlands. That brings us current. We are well on our way to a wonderful Subterranean Soundwaves edition of the Whizbanger Show. I am Sarah Whizbanger, your host with the most, and away we go with RVH Project, and the track I'm going to play for you is called Voices. Thank you so much for listening to the show and hanging out with me today on this lovely Tuesday. I think it's Wednesday. I don't know. I'm no longer putting the show out on Fridays. It just comes out when it comes out. Less pressure on me. I'll talk to you a little bit more about the things I'm doing here in Albuquerque, and that's all there is to it. I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you in a little bit, and away we go. Here's RVH Project. Thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out with me today. are back. What's up, everybody? Sarah Whizbanger of the Whizbanger Show. Again, thank you so much for your support through and through these slow, grudgingly, sludgingly blank days of no podcasts. I do what I can. I've been doing a lot of art lately and doing a lot of shows. So I'm like craft fairs. So I'm selling my art, which is just super awesome. I found out that Albuquerque, where I live now, was last year, the year before, was the state in the U.S. had the most craft fairs, and it is like dirty with them. It's so many. It's crazy. I'm doing punk rock market tomorrow, and then I'm doing something on the 31st. I'm doing something on the 5th, and then we're taking off where we're going to go out of town for a little bit and hit the road there. But yeah, it's been really crazy. And then last week I had COVID, so that was the silence. I had to go black for a while, man. I just was like, I was dead to rights. It wasn't so bad, but it was the third time I had COVID. I'm pretty sure I got it at the airport coming back from Disneyland. My husband didn't get it, and it was just like a really shitty cold. Anyway, it did kind of lay me out, and I didn't do much of anything that I didn't absolutely have to do. So here we are, back in the saddle again. And let me tell you who you heard. That was Mudlarker with Head Rush, and they are a stoner outfit out of Hereford, England. And their album, self-titled album, was released in June of 2023, which Head Rush came off of. They are on Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp, YouTube, and a Linktree. Mudlarker, Mudlarker. All the bands today you're going to hear on Subterranean Soundwaves are independent and super underground, so please do go on over to the socials for the Whizbanger Show and check out their social tags, engage with them, follow them, and let them know you heard them on the Whizbanger Show. They sure do love to hear that, and I love that you share it. DarkFlow before that, they're a progressive metal band out of Lausanne, Switzerland, and I played the track for you, Eerily Fading Away, released in May of this year on their independent album, Imminent End. And I got this from Rogue PR. Thank you, Andrew, for always sending me great stuff. DarkFlow Official, and that's OFFICIEL. They are Swiss. DarkFlow Official Bandcamp and DarkFlow Official Facebook, and their Instagram handle is DarkFlow Shock Metal. Top of the set was RVH Project with Voices. They are a heavy metal band out of the Netherlands, and I want to thank Orion for always sending me great stuff. Every time you have a new project, you share it with me, and I love that so much, and you support the Whizbanger Show, and I just think it's fabulous, and this is what it's all about, isn't it? Community. Yes. RVH Project on Bandcamp, RVH Project NL for the Netherlands, over there on the Facebooks, and I played the track for you, Voices. Next up, we're going to head over to Norway and listen to a psychedelic doom stoner metal band called Karavan with a K, and I'm going to play the track for you, Demon Slime. I'm Sarah Whizbanger, your host with the most. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me. Got a lot more coming at you. Thank you. So sit back, relax, and let me ease you into whatever day I'm easing you into. Thank you so much. And away we go with Karavan and Demon Slime on the Whizbanger Show, Subterranean Soundwaves edition number 265. Yeah, getting heavier by the minute. Just how I like it over here at Whizbanger headquarters. And that was Black Sasquatch, another band that always sends me stuff every single time they get it. A lot of this stuff is like, I'm the first one to play it, but it's been so long since I put this one together. I can't say that. I have no idea. I'm sure other people have played it. Maybe not. I don't know. But I got Giants of Enoch from these guys quite a while ago. Their Sighting EP was released independently in June of this year. And I've got Bandcamp codes for you in the next Banger Blast. And also an interview with Heavy Katana. Oh my goodness, so excited. I did announce that last week, but then COVID and, all kinds of things. Black Sasquatch is from southeastern Ohio, and their Sighting EP can be picked up on their Bandcamp page, Black Sasquatch. They also have a Linktree, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube where you can watch some pretty groovy videos. I'll tell you what, Lobo is mute. Another awesome human, Bernardo Fassal. Oh, Falchao. Oh gosh, he's Portuguese. I don't know. No, he's Brazilian. What? Brazil. He's from Brazil. And it's probably Falchao. I do speak a little bit of Portuguese, very little bit. But he's another person that sends me stuff. I love Lobo is Mute. It's an instrumental, one human band. He's got another project that you're going to hear later on in the show today, a thrash project, which he shared with me, which is super awesome. This single, Rising from the Grave, that you heard was released in August of just like last week on the 15th. It was released as a single. I shared it out. I'm sure you found it. It was shared a lot of places. And I think it was shared on Weedian, and then it was shared on a couple of Doom podcasts. Anyway, Lobo is Mute is awesome. The whole project is a tribute to Ed Wood and the Bride of the Monster, and I love it. It's so fucking good, man. Lobo is Mute is on Bandcamp, Linktree, Facebook, and Instagram. He is very receptive to communication. He will respond to you. So go and email Bernardo. You're going to hear more from another band, more from him from another band later on in the show today. Thank you so much, Bernardo, for always sending me your stuff even before it's out. I just love it so much. Rising from the Grave from Lobo is Mute. You can go grab it over there on the Bandcamps. Karavan with Demon Slime, a psychedelic doom stoner metal band out of Rogaland, Norway. June 2023 was when their very first full-length album, Unholy Mountain, dropped. Caravan Doom on Bandcamp, Facebook, Instagram, and Linktree. They make it easy for you. It's all Caravan Doom all the time. Caravan with a K. Next up, where are we going? Oh, I think we should go back to the U.S. and go to Knoxville, Tennessee to listen to a band called Sun Mantra. They are a stoner doom band, and their album, Fertilizer Wrath single, was released in April of this year, and I'm picking the track for you to listen to called Wrath. I'm Sarah Whizbanger, your host with the most. And away we go with a little bit of Sun Mantra. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to all these independent bands. Sure do appreciate your time. And away we go.
free of any crime. Conspiracy and corruption help to substantiate lie. Long days and countless nights, seemingly endless time. Suicide and madness weigh heavy on his mind. Communication breakthrough with someone else inside. Plans made, a pact is formed. Together they live or die. Live or die. Locked away for 10 long years. Freedom calls tonight. Take a chance, show no fear. Fortune favors your plight.
my husband likes to quote the A-Team and say, "I love it when a plan comes together." I never actually watched that show, but I know enough about it to know the lines. And I gotta say, I love it when a plan comes together. We got wildly different bands today from all over the world, all over the place, all over the genres, and this is just so cool when it works out, right? All of these bands just kind of flowing together in such a seamless and beautiful way. And that was a band called Droner. They're from England, and they are a sludge, drone, doom, metal, grunge band from London, and their album Herbicide was released in September, or no, it's releasing in September of this year on the 5th. But I played the track for you, Medicine, which is available. A couple of the singles are available on their Bandcamp page. It's Droner, Droner, on Bandcamp, and you can check that out. They've got two. I just was looking. They've got one other single that's out called "Tell Me Something." But I played the track "Medicine" for you. Droner's on Bandcamp and Instagram at Droner Band, so go and check them out. Gorgon Slave, a heavy doom metal outfit out of Athens, Greece, with a Live or Die. And that album, that track came out of their 2023. Released in 2023 album, The Ground Floor Sessions, which is their demo. And again, like one of these, sometimes you get these demos and you're like, dude, that's a demo. You guys are amazing. And Gorgon Slave, amazing. Gorgon Slave is on Bandcamp, Facebook, and Instagram, and they are named after the pentagram song of the same name. So go and check this band from Greece out. Knoxville, Tennessee was where the stoner doom band Sun Mantra hails from. I played the track Wrath off their single Backed with Fertilizer, and that was released in April of this year independently. Sun Mantra 1, the number 1 on Bandcamp. Then they've got a Facebook, Instagram, and a YouTube channel. So go and check them out and support these underground bands. We're going to head up to Bend, Oregon to listen to Vacancy Floor with the track Wendigo. All right, I'm Sir Whizbanger, your host with the most. You are tuned into the ever-loving Subterranean Soundwaves edition of the Whizbanger Show. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and away we go. Here's Vacancy Floor with Wendigo. Thanks so much for tuning in and hanging out with me today and listening to all this awesome music.
Darkness,
it, man. We're already winding down. What the hell? This show feels like it went really fast. That was just a double shot there, a couple of long songs, because, well, it's Doom, and that's how it works. Sonic Void, a Doom band from Ottawa, Ontario, up there in the Great White North in Canadaville, with the track The Conqueror, released independently on their album Algorithms for Destruction. This is a one-man band, a fellow named John LaFleche, and you can find his work, Sonic Void #1, Sonic Void 1 on Bandcamp, Sonic Void Ottawa on Instagram and Facebook. And this is the first single off the album Algorithms for Destruction, out everywhere back in May. And all the proceeds will be sent to the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. So really good guy. Second One Human band of the day. I think that's the only two we've got was Lobo is Mute and Sonic Void. You can go and support Sonic Void and order that album, and the money will go to support Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, and I just think that's goddamn groovy as hell. Before that, a Vacancy Floor with Wendigo. They are a doom sludge outfit out of Bend, Oregon. Their album Mythos released a couple weeks ago, August 5th. And you can pick it up at Bandcamp, Vacancy Floor, and they also have an Instagram, Vacancy Floor. For if you don't know, a Wendigo is what is it? Let me see if I can describe this. It's a figure from Algonquin. It's an indigenous figure, and it is an Algonquin myth. The legends surrounding it are a lot more than just it's not like it's mistaken as like a ghost, but it's actually like a specter, and it's very complex and very terrifying. That's its imagery, and all different kinds of indigenous cultures around the northeast, because it's Algonquin. I kind of had different versions of it. Anyway, cool song. All right, away we go. We're gonna go to Nashville, Tennessee, to listen to a heavy noise rock band called the Brunswick with the title track from Electricity. Yes. Oh, did I play? Which one did I pick? Hold on, because it's a 2-track EP. I did pick Electricity. It's backed with When You Wake Up. All right. This is a fun kind of punk rock sludge, heavy noise. Yeah, you'll have fun. And we got a band from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'll tell you about them when we come back. I'm Sir Whizbanger, your host with the most. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me. I sure do love all of you. And away we go with the Brunswick and Electricity right here on the Whizbanger Show, Subterranean Soundwaves edition number 265.
course to a spineless world of failed remorse, where all the feeling has went dry, no moisture meets these empty eyes. Deprivation creates effect, the strain takes grip around my neck. The only chance to escape such fate resides in sound that elevates.
moving and grooving. That was my good pal, who I'm going to see in a couple weeks. I'm so excited. My good pal from Madrid, Spain, Javi. I don't ever call him Javier. I just call him Javi, and I just stuck in my mouth. Anyway, Black Verraco with Rituales. They're from Madrid, and you need to go and support this independent band because they're awesome. And Javi's my very good friend. Black Verraco, Verraco, and Bandcamp, Instagram, and Facebook, so go check them out. They're super awesome. Their album Sed de Mal, Thirsty for Evil, came out in June of this year, and they're just a badass sludge band. I just love everything that Javi does. And the first time I met him was to go see another friend of mine, friend's band, and this was years ago, a band called Red Eye, and they opened for them, and I was like, oh, I'm in love with this band. And then we got in touch, and now we're big old pals, and yeah, we're going to go hang out with him in Madrid pretty soon here. So I'm pretty excited about that. Prairie Dog, a sludge punk band from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I am getting an Albuquerque show together. This is the band when I said, are you guys independent? And they're like, we're DIY as fuck. I went and saw these guys. They opened up for the Dwarves here in Albuquerque, and I was like, you guys, it's two dudes, a guitarist and a drummer, and I said, you guys are like a sludgy shellac, and that made them very happy, but they were awesome. I played the track for you, Masochismo 2000, just dropped on the 22nd, so 5 days ago, because it's the 27th. I don't know when I'm going to get the show out, but it just dropped last week. Kite, and they are amazing. Prairie Dog, and that's DAWG, Prairie Dog, on Bandcamp, Instagram, and Linktree. Go and support this band. They're fucking awesome. They just had a record release party that I couldn't go to because I had COVID. God damn it. Nashville, Tennessee is where the Brunswick is from, and they are a heavy noise rock band. And I played the title track to their EP Electricity that's backed with When You Wake Up, and that was released in 2023, April of 2023. The Brunswick, Prairie Dog, and Black Verraco right here. Maybe you heard it here first. I'm pretty sure that you heard the Black Verraco Rituales first, and also I'm pretty sure that Prairie Dog hasn't been played on a show yet. So yay! I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, let's go to Brazil. Yes. So that is Bernardo's. That's where he's from. He's not Portuguese. He's Brazilian. Okay, this is his band. They are a thrash stoner metal outfit from Brazil. They're called Dignatários do Inferno, which is Dignitaries of Hell. And I'm going to play the track for you, Prisões Sem Grades, Prisons Without Bars. Go and check them out, Dignatários do Inferno on Bandcamp. They also have a Facebook, Instagram, and a SoundCloud, and a Linktree, and you can go and find their links on the Whizbanger Show socials. Dignatários do Inferno with Dignitaries of Hell. We're getting really heavy and really nasty and really dirty as we wind on down. I'm Sarah Whizbanger, your host with the most. Thanks so much for listening to the Subterranean Soundwaves edition of the Whizbanger Show, and away we go.
Parece parecem antros de bestialidades. A julgar por estes dementes, parecem prisões sem grades. Prega a sobriedade, mas em dia muito pó. Reza contra o anabolizante, dementes traficante. Prega a moral, mas lava dinheiro no exterior. É o que reza com mais fervor, é o chefe da quadrilha, é o pastor. Algumas igrejas parecem antros de bestialidades. A julgar por estes dementes, parecem prisões sem grades. Algumas igrejas parecem antros de bestialidades. A julgar por estes dementes, parecem prisões sem grades.
All right, winding on down. Here we go. Let me tell you who you heard. That was a band called Dead Flesh. Nope, I lied. Wait. No, yes, I lied. Sorry. That was a band from Chile called Devs Mortvorvm. It's got V's where I would think U's are. So Devs Mortvorvm. With Love for the Dead, they're a graveyard doom death metal outfit out of Santiago, Chile. Their album, The Oldest Crypt, was released independently in August of 2024. So, hey, happy birthday, The Oldest Crypt. And I got this from Anubi Press. You can find them on Bandcamp, Facebook, and Instagram. And I'm going to spell it out for you because it's confusing and I'm probably mispronouncing it. DEVSMORTVORVM. Love for the Dead. And before that was Dignatários do Inferno. Translation, Dignitaries of Hell, with Precios Sem Grades, Prisons Without Bars. They were a thrash stoner metal outfit out of Brazil, and they're an independent band. This is Bernardo Fausto's band. The guy behind Lobo is mute. Dignatários do Inferno on Bandcamp, Facebook, Instagram, and SoundCloud, and Linktree. Dignatários do Inferno. I'm not going to spell it for you. You're smart noodles, and you can figure it out on your own because you're awesome. All right, we're going to wind it on down. I'll be back to say goodnight in a little bit. Before that, we're going to Sweden to hear a death metal band called Decadence Incarnate with the track Lightbringer. I've been waiting to play this for a long time. It was out and I couldn't play anything. And then, anyway, it's not out yet, but you can pre-order it over on their Bandcamp page, Decadence Incarnate. I'm going to play the track for you, Lightbringer, and I want to thank Grand Sounds PR for always sending me great stuff. And this is going to be released in November on their album Eternal Rebellion. I'm Sarah Whizbanger, your host with the most, and away we go. I'll be back to say goodnight in just a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me on the Subterranean Soundwaves edition of the Whizbanger Show.
Freedom, rally your forces so full of
All right, and we are done. And I'm Sarah Whizbanger, your host of the most, and I'm going to go be Sarah Whizbanger elsewhere in the world. I have no idea what the next show is, but it's going to be great. I'll tell you what. That was Dead Flesh with the single DNR, a deathcore band out of Hertfordshire, England. And this was released in March as a single, and I got this from Tom over at Polymath PR. He sent me a whole ton of stuff, and I've just been sifting through it. Thanks, Tom, for sending me stuff and for bugging me to get it all done. All right. SoundCloud and Facebook is where you can find Dead Flesh, Linktree, and Instagram, Dead Flesh Official, and they're awesome. I never thought, I'm a little bit like, deathcore, I don't know, and then I listened to it, I'm like, no, this is straight up killer death metal, I'm there. And Sweden before that with Decadence, Incarnate with the track Lightbringer, and their album Eternal Rebellion is going to release on November 7th, and let me just double check what other singles are out. Oh, it's not even out on their Facebook, on their Bandcamp yet, but I checked and I was able to play this, so there you go. But it will be out, Eternal Rebellion, so you can look for that on their Bandcamp page probably in about a month or so. Meantime, follow them on Instagram and Facebook, Decadence Incarnate with Lightbringer. All right, I'm going to leave you with some Blackened death metal because I'm cool like that. They're from this is a band from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Again, second Canada band today. The band is called Ancient Thrones, and I'm going to play a track for you, a Moon-Fused Key, and that's off their Melancholia album, which is going to release in September of this year on the 19th, and I got this from John over at Asher Media Relations. Let me see if you can pre-order this yet, because it wasn't up before. Yes, you can, and they actually have another single on their Bandcamp page, so you can go and check that out. All right. That's awesome. I'm super into this band. Ancient Thrones on Bandcamp. You can listen to them on Deezer. They also have a Facebook page and Instagram page on Ancient Thrones. All right. Clearly, I'm out of things to say because I'm stuttering over my own words. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me today. No idea what's coming next, but get at me. And let's party. Thank you so much, everybody. You're wonderful. I love you. Go hug a tree. Be good to yourself so you can be good to others, and take care of that big old heart of yours. Thanks so much, everybody. I love you so much. So much. All right, here we go. Here's Ancient Thrones with a Moon-Fused Key on the Whizbanger Show, Subterranean Soundwaves edition number 265. See you later, y'all. Bye.
Destination